Hey everyone, here's another quick weekend video. I wanted to take some time to explain my thought process behind some of my Tesla investments. I generally am bullish on the Tesla stock, and I have built up a position use with some ETFs that that have a pretty heavy Tesla component. So these are ARKK, and even QQQ happens to have like a pretty significant Tesla component. I also own some ETFs and options on those ETFs in my retirement accounts as well. So I'm generally very bullish on Tesla, and the stock has been pretty good to me in the past. But I did want to take some time today to go over what my thinking is on where Tesla is today, and what do I think could happen with the Tesla stock going forward. And I wanted to do that by giving you a quick story from the past year. So last year, my wife and I decided to use the opportunity from COVID because both of us were not going into work and both of us had the opportunity to be remote. So we did use that opportunity and decided to do a pretty big road trip across the country. Now we are a one car family, and my wife is the one who owns the car, and we she owns a Model S. And we decided to do this road trip after a lot of thought using the Model S. Really, we wanted to do this as a challenge. We wanted to see, as a part of this trip, if is Tesla is it ready for prime time? Both of us are pretty heavily invested in Tesla, so this was really to test out our hypothesis and see how our investments will play out in the real world. So this was a very exciting trip. And as you can see, we are East Coasters. We did a little bit of up and down the East Coast, and then we decided to go all the way to the West Coast. We decided to drop down all the way to Colorado during our trip. We went to a few national parks, went all the way to Pacific Northwest. From Pacific Northwest, we then dropped down to California. From California, we went to New Mexico, Nevada, Texas, and then eventually started making our way back to the Northeast. So pretty big trip. This basically took us like the second half of last year, so we were gone for a really long time. It was a lot of fun, and we learned a lot during this trip. Um, Now, since this was the first time we did this whole trip in an EV, there was definitely a lot of new things for us to account for. There were definitely certain unexpected things which we wouldn't have encountered with a regular vehicle, but nonetheless, we learned the overall. It's very, very convenient to do this trip in an EV. And let me get into how Tesla, especially, is very well positioned to take advantage of any move towards EV, and why no car company is at this point not even anywhere close to matching Tesla. So the big thing is, obviously everybody has heard about the Tesla Supercharger. Now ours happens to be a slightly older car, so this gives us free supercharging for life. I'm not sure how long we are going to keep this car, but we had this as a part of this road trip. So we didn't pay for charging all through the trip. All we had to do was find a supercharger on the map and then pull into one of these, plug our car in, and then move on. So, yes, from a cost perspective, our whole trip, we spent $0 on fuel. Now, obviously, this is not the reason we got the Tesla, but it's a really nice perk, and definitely, just knowing the fact that we're not spending any money on gas it was definitely something that we got a lot of joy and fun from. But the flip side is, Tesla Supercharger is very built out in the Northeast. We found the West a little bit lacking. But there is a lot of opportunity, and we did see Tesla building a lot of different superchargers, especially in suburban and metro areas, and we are hoping this network gets even better. Now, We also did do one stop to test out the competition. So we found a non-Tesla charger and we pulled in just to see what the experience was, and it's extremely different. The good thing with Tesla superchargers is they are actually located in some really accessible spots. So these are usually shopping malls, or these are some sort of outlets, or they are by a McDonald's, or by a Burger King, or Arby's, or Sheetz. Um, but the competition could be in very remote places. So this could be a problem depending on where you're going, is to find an EV, a non-Tesla EV. The other thing is you really need a DC charging if you're on a road trip like we were, to get like a good amount of charge in a short time. Our Model S typically takes an hour to charge from almost 0 to 100%. We never do that. We All we do is just charge enough so that we can get to the next supercharger. But a non Tesla charger depends on what sort of a charger you're pulling into. If it's a non DC charger, you're looking at a really slow charge time. So maybe you spend like an hour and you would get like 10 or 20 miles. Usually it's about 16 miles per hour, which is really not that much. Um, DC chargers are few as of today, and you do need an adapter to plug a Tesla into a supercharger, so that makes it really inconvenient. Depending on the car, you may need an adapter for a DC fast charger. So this is why, in our opinion, Tesla is the option for any serious sort of a road trip if you want to do a road trip in an EV. Here's another shot of our Tesla at one of these superchargers. As you can see, these are in some really nice places. They are a very nice, very welcoming break to the journey. We did travel with our dogs, so it was good to just take a pause, have these walkways where we could just walk our dog, get some food, get water, refuel, and feel charged as we continued our journey. This did increase the time at each stop, when you would compare had we done this with a regular an ice based car. However, this was very effective. At least we felt very energized with these longer stops. And these stops had something to do, so it wasn't like we were ever sitting on this stop just waiting for the car to charge up. So key insights: we did feel that Tesla is ready for mass adoption. We did a road trip cross country. You saw that map. We went everywhere, and we had a charger accessible to us. Never were in any threat of running out of electric. So ready to go. And we feel like Tesla is the only EV that's ready for this mass adoption. The experience was awesome because there is no noise, there is no engine, there is no exhaust. So this made the trip very, very cool. The car itself is very silent, and it has some really great speakers. So, we could listen to some amazing podcasts, play some music, and made our trip very enjoyable. The trips did take a little bit longer due to charging stops. And the charge and all, the way we minimized this was just charge enough to get to the next destination. So that way we kept our stops fairly small. And the perk that we had was free supercharging. I don't think Tesla is doing that anymore, but since we had an older vehicle, this was a great perk that we had. And all in all, we felt very good about just owning an investment in Tesla directly as a stock, as well as we tend to prefer owning this, having that exposure to Tesla through our ETFs. It's really more than a car company. It's this whole EV ecosystem that nobody else has figured out yet. We don't think this should be valued like a car company stock. And we are very, very bullish on how Tesla is positioned for the future. We definitely tend to align more with Kathy Wood, ARK Invest's line of thinking, that shouldn't be valued as a car company, and we see great potential for Tesla going forward. That's all from this one. See you in the next video.